If you are familiar with the bustling city of New York City, you might have seen multiple greenback cards roaming around in students' hands, as a means to balance fares for students that use transportation to go to school by simply tapping the card with no pay 4 times a day. During the start of the 2024-2025 school year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams introduced student OMNY Cards instead of the Metro cards that have been distributed citywide to students since 1997. The new student OMNY Cards are valid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with up to 4 free rides a day. But what if I told you that the current school year that these OMNY Cards have been used and abused and even sold online? What has the MTA done to try to prevent from all of this? I'm Jeffrey, by the way, and welcome back to another channel. Here we go. Part 1. The OMNY Student Card. In New York City, students that live more than half a mile now get a free and green OMNY Card, offering 4 free rides daily, including weekends and the summer break. What's the purpose? To make commuting easier for students. A great way to make education more accessible and affordable. Students that have after-school jobs, take care of siblings while parents work, or other extracurricular activities are more accessible with this card to travel. A major rule: the locations of where the card is used has to be near the school and home addresses. The WYNC News explains it best on the radio.
In the fall, all students who live more than half a mile from their school got a brat green OMNY Card.
That's what we're calling it now.
It's the color. It's
okay.
That greenish, trendy green.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different than previous Metro cards for students because it's good for 4 rides a day, every day of the week, even weekends and during the summer. Pretty nice capabilities. And of course, something this good has some restrictions. The card is only for the student that was issued the card. And immediately, you may recall after these came out, we saw them pop up online for sale, which is of course not allowed. Those cards were deactivated.
Yeah, and the city has a big interest in preventing people or students or anyone from abusing these cards. The money for the program comes right out of the city coffers. That's our tax dollars. But there's a really good reason for this. There's 1 million plus public school students in the city. The MTA and the city want them to pay the fare like everyone else to get to school. If some of the other programs, when you lose your card, what are kids going to do to get home or get to school? They're going to evade the fare. So there's a balance that they're trying to strike here.
The MTA is also trying to crack down on that culture of fare evasion that we've talked about so many times.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do they track fraud with this? And we got an inside look this week when we got our hands on an email that was sent from the Department of Education to a parent whose kid's card had been flagged for fraud.
Yeah, I really want to hear what happened here. How does an OMNY Card get flagged, and who's monitoring it?
As good as it sounds to have this card for students, there's another side that exploits it. Part 2. Fraud Detection System. The MTA has set up a fraud detection system, reporting and flagging cards that aren't being used properly or not being used at all. If the card's location is different from a school or home address, it also gets flagged. You also want to know one of the craziest parts? There's been students that sell these cards for a profit, the lowest being $200 to $1,500 just for this card alone, with students that stockpile and ask for more from their school, deceiving them for new ones. Students get away with it, but other uses have resulted in false fraud flagging. One story, for example, from a parent who received an email from the New York City Department of Education, explains how a parent discovered this when using their child's card. The MTA uses location data to monitor where the card is used. The idea to make sure it's only used for its intended purpose, getting the student to school and back home. Part 3. Privacy Concerns. This obviously violates a student's privacy and is connected with this tracking of OMNY Cards. The MTA does explain and insist on only tracking location data and not personal information. But however, privacy advocates are worried. So what if a student gets home later and has to take multiple stations to access transportation? What if they have divorced parents and stay at different homes occasionally? And if they have younger siblings, when parents aren't available, how are they going to pick them up? Will the system still flag them for doing something important in their daily lives? These are questions worth asking to understand and learn the policies of the MTA or change them as a result. Additionally, experts like Alvar Fox Khan, an expert on surveillance technology, claim that vulnerable students, like those dealing with homelessness or family issues, could be unjustly flagged as fraudsters. This epidemic in this newly founded program has taken a turn for the worse, especially with the number of abused students or people in general who have used these cards with ill intentions. Part 4. Why it matters. Each individual student should have the accessibility to education, regardless of what status or circumstances they are in. This isn't about tracking fraud, it's about fairness. New York City has funded this program, so they should take the responsibility of doing so with authority and protection. The dilemma is between if students' cards get falsely flagged or if their privacy is compromised. So if any of you have an OMNY card, what is your take on this? What rules should be changed for our community? Has this tracking gone too far, or is it for good measure to prevent further abuse? Look beyond and think for yourself and all of our youth who are fortunate enough to have access to education and have this card for transportation. Look around at what's happened with the children coming to New York or the United States in general. Families are being deported left and right, not knowing English to begin with, and can't even fend for themselves when they are targeted. In conclusion, this massive problem will only get worse if the NYCDOE or the MCA don't change necessary rules in order to enforce what has been created with this program. This topic hasn't been talked enough, and it may seem like I want people to get caught, but no, it's to send awareness about the potential dangers of using and abusing these cards with ill intention. All students that live far, who have different backgrounds, should have education because it's the next step towards their development. No one should be limited or inaccessible to transportation in such a massive and rapid city where there is no time to stop and wait. With all that being said, what do you guys think about the OMNY card and its fraud detection system? Do we need it? Is it unnecessary? Does it violate privacy? Let me know in the comments below. And that being said, thank you guys for watching and listening, and peace out.